sign for you. Always advance.
Yes.
Is it off? That's not turning on. It took up 5 minutes.
Just the grass stuff, plugging it too.
Not yet. Noise, you want to make some noise. You can show up.
The entire video's here. I didn't even know it was there. I didn't even turn around and look. They're all
I think so. Well, we'll leave everything like it is. We need to push it back.
So did you watch the
Too
game
much
last
feedback,
night?
too much
Oh,
feedback.
yeah.
It was kind of.
It was on.
It was just still, the fourth quarter was exciting. That was it.
We'll see. Well, we'll see what staff says, and we'll see. Yep.
I was having a great deal of difficulty connecting, so I'm on a wireless network now.
Okay, so who's up here?
There's a lot of network. A lot of bandwidth here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mark is having a hard time getting in too.
This side.
No, cost you a nickel.
My computer goes down there. I'll let you know if it goes down.
Oh, there you go. Are you in now?
Maybe. I might be.
That'll be another nickel.
Just a minute, making sure I'm in. I'm not gonna join. I don't. It shows join meeting. Why does it show that?
You must be in the Civic Clerk board.
Can I be on that board? No, I shouldn't be.
Well,
Website.
you better not
and the
vote.
agendas.
I would not vote.
Chair there. Steve, chair there.
All right, I'm going board view. I like board view better.
Did you want us to move anything up? Okay.
It's up to you guys.
Well,
Present not voting. Okay.
we're,
Is
you here
this
for the noise?
Yeah.
Maybe we could move that one up.
You're in?
Should be.
Yes, everybody's in.
We can just ditch this chair and move the table up.
Let's see what we got here.
Number 6.
Okay. I'm gonna make a motion to move number 6 right to the top. Well, we got to get one. I'm just letting you know. We'll talk tomorrow, nickel.
Okay. Should I make it bigger?
Everybody set? Everybody's in? Yep.
Oh, that's Zoom. Oh, you plus it.
Okay. All right. We are now in session. The public, the policy, public and policy committee meeting for February 4th, 2019, City Hall Room 207 is now in session. It's 5:30. Roll call. Alder Stevens. Here. Alder Vanderleest. Here. Alder Stoyer.
Here.
Alder Randy here. For the agenda, I'd like to make a motion. Well, let's approve it first. And then we're gonna amend it.
Approve the agenda.
Motion to approve the agenda by Alder Vanderleest.
Second.
second by Alder Stevens. All in favor?
Aye.
One
Opposed?
second, I'm sorry, 1 second.
Yep.
Alderman Vanderleest, Stevens.
Yep. Now, hang on a minute. Yep.
So that was approved.
Yep, and I can amend the agenda to move item number 6 to the top of the list as number 1. Seconded by Alder Vanderleest, motion by myself. Alder Randy. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion to approve amended agenda. By Alder Stevens. Seconded by Alder Vanderleest. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
To,
Approve the amended agenda.
I see.
Stevens, Vanderleest.
okay.
Okay? When you're ready, let us know.
Yes. Okay, you're on to approval of minutes.
Motion to approve the minutes for our January 7th, 2019 protection policy meeting. So moved by Alder Steuer. Seconded by Alder Vanderleest. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We have our minutes. Approve it. Did you say okay?
Yes.
Okay, on to regular business. Discussion on a request by Alder Weary stating, review with possible action on ordinance 27.203, regulation of noise for the purpose of amending with weekend hours, new daytime, I think that's military, 900 to 2000 hours, previously discussed at the November 26, 2018 and January 7th, 2019 protection and policy meeting. Staff?
Yes, so this was referred to staff to bring back recommendations. I can refer this now to, or defer to our Public Works Director, Steve Grenier, who has submitted a memo to the committee outlining concerns with the proposed ordinance changes.
Okay.
As I outlined in the memo, the staff memo to the committee, DPW does not support this proposal. It does have the ability to adversely impact and unnecessarily restrict necessary work functions of the department. In particular, there are 2 critical tasks that we undertake on weekends that would be adversely impacted. First is construction. What I can tell you is with last year alone, more than half of the available weekends during the construction season were requested by contractors to work on. This council has tasked the Department of Public Works with increasing the amount of work product we are putting out in the construction projects that we are completing in a year. And last year alone, more than half of the available weekends were requested for work. To limit us and our contractors is going to be counterproductive. Also, we conduct a lot of solid waste activities on the weekend. And currently, under 27.203, sub 4, sub C, waste collection is presumed to be reasonable during nighttime hours, Monday through Friday. It's specifically called out. However, during collection of bulk and any time that we have a situation like we had last week, if we've got adverse weather conditions, heavy rains, things of that nature, we do find it necessary to come in and work on Saturdays. On Saturdays, the Brown County Transfer Station, where we have to deliver that waste, is only open until noon. To stop our drivers from working from 6 o'clock in the morning and push them back until 9 o'clock, we will never get through the routes, and that's going to force those guys to have we're going to have to suspend after getting half of the route collected, plus we're going to have to leave that material in the trucks over the weekends. So there are actually some other items within this ordinance and regular work product that the city of Green Bay completes through the Department of Public Works that aren't addressed. If anything, there are a couple of additional exceptions that need to be listed in there to ensure that we are compliant with our own ordinance. So at this point in time, DPW would not support further restricting those weekend hours.
Thanks, Steve, for coming in. Did you have a chance to talk to Alder Weary about this at all?
No, I have not.
Okay. I think initially when this came forward, it was more or less with, I don't know if they were really reflecting on what you folks do, you know, as far as the time frame and that, the type of work that you're doing. I think it was for other reasons. So I'm just wondering if you had talked to him, and if so, you know, what the results were, but you said you haven't.
No, I haven't.
Okay. That's all I have.
Any other questions? The memos and stuff, we have nothing in our packet. Would that be available for, will that be in the council packet?
Oh, we'll definitely make it available in the council packet. I thought it was.
Yes, I thought it was, it should have been part of the packet, so.
We don't have it, but you went over it, so.
It'll be in everybody's mailbox tomorrow morning.
Okay, and also in the council packet.
Absolutely.
I think that's
Okay.
excellent. Thank you.
All right.
Motion?
Make a motion that we receive places on file. I think the ordinance that stands, that we're using right now, I think is appropriate. I know a lot of contractors that are in the private sector, they start at 600 hours, and they work Saturdays, and some of them work Sundays, depending on the weather conditions, so I make a recommendation.
I'll second that.
A motion by Alder Vandelis to receive and place on file, seconded by Alder Steuer. Any other discussion? I think we made the ordinance was made for a reason, to start at 6. It'd be nice if we could bump it, you know, people could sleep. It'd be nice if we could do it every day till 9, but it's not practical, so, yeah, I'm for it. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, that carries. Thank you.
Okay.
Discussion with possible action on a resolution amending the procedure for accepting Class B liquor licenses. Staff.
Yes, so as you may be aware, we are down to only one available liquor license from being in the reserves. Because of this, we've been looking into developing a policy or procedure to be able to fairly and efficiently review multiple applications when our available licenses are low. And we discovered that there was a resolution adopted by the council in 2005 that set forth a procedure. However, we determined that it would no longer satisfy a rational basis review and could expose the city to liability. Accordingly, we have drafted this amended resolution to establish a procedure for the acceptance and review of Class B liquor licenses, which would satisfy a constitutional rational basis review, and it would provide a process that is both fair and efficient. So this resolution would preempt any prior resolutions setting forth a procedure moving forward for the review of Class B available applications.
Has the police looked at this as well, or the PD's not really involved, are they, per se?
No, so this basically
this
provides
doesn't
a
have to do with
procedure for the committee and for council by which when we have multiple applications coming forward, it sets forth criteria to review applications, and that when we have applications that meet all the criteria and are pretty much the same, then whoever is first in time will be first in line to make it fair.
And your job would stay the same as far as security plan and everything else,
Yep.
so that doesn't, yep. Okay, yes, Alder Steuer?
Thank you, Chair. Joanne, I was just gonna ask, in your estimation of what's the turnover yearly for licenses? Is there any?
Oh, I would not.
Or the
be able to
police, I
get
don't know,
to
Lieutenant?
figures, yes.
I'm just looking at just kind of a housekeeping type thing as far as numbers.
Knowing what I know, I would probably say less than 5.
Less than 5 yearly?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Based off.
Right, well, that's part of the issue.
Yeah.
Because it's tight.
Yep. And reserve license costs?
10,000, and we have 22 of those.
Okay.
There's also a cap on that.
And how many of those are used?
Only one. I believe Black and Tan has that one.
Who does?
Black and Tan? Or Capital Buzz, I'm not sure who the.
So Happy with a bowler or a baseball game? Any other questions? Take a motion to, this would go on to council then, correct?
Yep, mhm.
So just to.
To approve, and then council would.
Motion to
then
approve?
the resolution would be passed.
By Alder Stevens.
I'll second.
Seconded by Alder Steuer. No further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Right,
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Oh,
you have the floor second.
oh, I'm sorry, I didn't, okay, yep, I'm sorry, I didn't see you.
Motion to open the floor. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'll make the motion.
motion over the floor by Alder Steuer, seconded by Alder Vanderlee, sorry.
That's okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, yes.
Don Meldy, 840 South Broadway, Green Bay. Basically, I was just wondering what was the old resolution for amended procedure, and what's the difference between the one from 2005 and one today? Everything on here looks pretty standard, and I think it's kind of unprecedented. We haven't had this.
Right.
Like, we haven't reached this point since my tenure as cabinet president, so.
We're growing.
So the 2005 one of the criteria that was removed was the number of jobs created, the value and nature of improvements to the property, if any. Removed the criteria of groups to which the proposed establishment intends to cater to, existence of outdoor facilities and live entertainment. Unique character of the services or operation of the establishment.
Okay.
And then we added in that when applicants are equally favorable, the preference will be given to first in time.
Yep.
Correct. So it removed criteria that we felt would not satisfy a rational basis review by treating particular businesses or groups differently.
Yeah.
And then kept the other criteria that would be fair.
Good. And he was accurate. It's about 5 or less turnover ratio in the city per year. So thank you very much.
Anything here that is all good?
No, it all sounds great.
Okay.
So thanks.
Thanks for your input.
Motion to close the floor.
Motion to close the floor by Alder Steuer, seconded by Alder Vanderlee, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We're back to, did you catch who made the motion in second for approving? Otherwise we do it over, because I don't remember.
1 second.
Okay. That'd be Stevens or,
And I didn't catch the close the floor. That was close the floor.
to close the floor, Alder
I
Steuer made the motion, Alder Vanderlee, seconded. Anybody want to third it?
Double checking all the votes and a little rusty.
That's all right.
So the original, the motion to approve was made by Alder Stevens, seconded by Alder Steuer.
Yep.
And that was unanimous.
Okay, well,
So we're good for that.
we should vote now, I think.
Revote?
Yeah, because we opened the floor. Well, we didn't take any other action.
You're not making any changes.
Right,
So
yeah.
I think the original motion
So we're good?
stands.
Okay. Let's move on to our next item.
Okay.
Froze here. I never did this. It was a little slow, but I'm there now. This consideration with possible action on an application by Tapatio Jalisco LLC at 1638 University Avenue for a Class A beverage and a Class A liquor license with a licensed premises as store, previously licensed as an individual, Ruben Rodriguez. Okay?
Staff has no objections?
PD concurs.
Motion approved by Alder Stevens. Seconded by Alder Steuer. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That passes unanimously. 3. Now this is a Class B. So is this the last one?
No, so these aren't available licenses, so it's changing ownership, so.
Oh,
It was
we're just trying.
previously
okay.
licensed as an individual and it's moving to an LLC.
Right, right. We really can't issue another license until we get the council approval, per se?
I'm not sure I understand.
Well, once we get into the reserve though, so we have one, we can
We have one available, which
Tonight.
is, not on the agenda tonight because we needed to have the resolution in place
Okay, that's what I was,
before we take up the last
That's what I
available,
wanted
which
to-
will be on the February 20, the last one in February.
okay. Then, consideration with possible action on an application by Tapatio Jalisco LLC at 1638 University Avenue for a Class B combination license with a licensed premises as restaurant, waitstaff area, kitchen, previously licensed as an individual Ruben Rodriguez.
Staff has no objections.
Please concur.
Motion to approve.
Motion approved by Alder Steuer, seconded by Alder Stevens. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That passes unanimously. Consideration with possible action and appeal by Gary Wisniewski regarding his reinspection fees. Staff, aye.
Sorry. Paul Van Kelster's on his way. He's
Oh.
about 15 minutes out. Is that okay if we hold this till
Yes,
he gets here?
we can
I'm
certainly-
sorry. I just.
I asked for 7 minutes and they wouldn't give, the inspection department wouldn't give me 7 minutes.
Ooh, all right. I really want Paul to be here for this one, so. That would be all right if we could just move that until he gets here. He's on his way right now, so.
All right, motion to hold this item, till
I'll make
Paul
that
comes,
motion.
and then we'll put them in right after the item we're on. Motion by Alder Steuer, seconded by Alder Vanderleest. We wouldn't be able to make any decision until we had his input anyway, so you're kind of stuck, we're all stuck. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That passes, so we're holding that until he gets here. Item number, well, this will be 4. Consideration with possible action on general ordinance number 3-19, an ordinance amending section 2.06, subsection 9, Green Bay Municipal Code relating to reference to committees. Staff.
Yes, so there has been some confusion in the past when communications are referred from alders, at council. That could be addressed by more than one committee when it kind of, straddles a couple different topics. And so this ordinance would just alleviate that by designating a primary committee who would then report out to council. So it's just kind of a housekeeping item, just to make the process a little bit more clear.
Joanna, would that be, when would that take place? Would that take place at council or when somebody brings this forward?
Basically, the determination would be made, when it's referred to a committee, that determination would be made at staff
At
to
staff.
go to make one committee the primary committee. And if another committee has input on that particular item or that particular issue, that other committee could also have a discussion. It could also be on their agenda, but then they would report to the primary, and then the primary would report out to
I figured
council
let's
versus
handle that.
both
Right.
reporting to council.
Let's handle that staff. That's all.
Yes.
I needed. Thank you. That's all.
Any other discussion, questions? Okay, motion? Motion approved by Alder Steuer, seconded by Alder Stevens. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? That passes unanimously. Okay. Yeah. Consideration of possible action on a request by Overtime Grill and Pub at 1423 South Broadway to temporarily extend their licensed premises to the parking lot for a private event on June 29th. Staff.
Law department doesn't have any objections. We would defer to PD if they have any questions for the applicant.
Our question would be, pretty much fencing or any type of barrier, plus if there'll be security or what type of security on the parking lot for this event.
Right now, no.
Hold
So,
on.
Yeah, motion open the floor by Alder Stevens, seconded by Alder Steuer. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, it's open. Have you filled out a form to,
sorry, not yet.
okay, well, you do that after and
Sure.
right now.
Randall
State your name
Degree
and
with
address.
the Overtime Bar. I'm looking to have
Hold on,
a,
could you please first state your name and address?
Randall Degree, 1423 South Broadway.
Okay, and?
I'd like a one-day permit for an outdoor event. It's for my son's wedding. It's gonna be a tent, 20 by 60. And food will be catered by the Mark, and just a one-day event, actually. Not open to the public, private event.
Private event.
And we'll be blocking off the parking lot with barriers. So,
Time frame?
it'll be about 1 o'clock, done by 10.
That's a quick wedding.
Well,
So we can afford for them. So one time, and that's it.
Yeah, that's it.
So, there'll be a DJ outside. Music will be done long before 10 o'clock. I know the ordinance is 10 o'clock for that. And no alcohol will be served outside. There will be a kegerator for beer if that's permissible. And that's kind of why I'm asking for a permit for that.
And with the kegerator?
Oh, the server out there.
Okay.
Yeah, a licensed server.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And even with the tent, you'll make sure it's known to be private? so
Absolutely. Oh, yeah,
people
for
just
sure.
don't come walking up and...
No, that's a given for sure.
Be so satisfied.
Anything else you care to add?
I think that's good.
That's fine.
Well,
Yeah. Extend our congratulations.
thank you so much.
Motion to close the floor by Alder Vanderleest, seconded by Alder Stevens. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? What's your wishes, gentlemen? Motion to approve by Alder Stevens, seconded by Alder Stoyer. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Consideration with possible action on a request by Scogan's Food Liner, Inc. at 2430 University Avenue to amend their liquor licenses description. Did I miss one?
Yeah, number 8.
I'm sorry. Okay, consideration with possible action on an appeal by Rachel Anker regarding the denial of her operator's license. Staff?
Yes, law department, recommends denial of this appeal based on multiple felony drug convictions and other offenses that substantially relate to the license activity, as they indicate a propensity for repeated criminal behavior and disqualify the appellant as a habitual law offender, and as a convicted felon under chapter 125.04. And I think you should have a copy of the denial memo. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
In front of you.
Yep.
Please concur with law.
Yep, no, that's fine. Motion open the floor by Alder Stoyer, seconded by Alder Stevens. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, the floor is now open. Is there anybody here for this? Rick, please step up. State your name and address, and if you haven't filled out one of the forms, please fill those out before you go.
My name is Trevor Commons, 1105 Klaus Street. I am Rachel's employer, and I've said at these meetings before, we're just giving people a second chance. She deserves one. Simple as that. She's a good employee. Haven't had any problems with her. I don't know her record, but I don't believe it's alcohol related. So, those are my 2 cents.
How long has she been working with you?
3 years. And it kind of, hinders us because we can't schedule her by ourselves, being that she doesn't have a liquor license. So I think it would be good for her too. She could earn more income.
Any other questions? Yep. Oh, well, anything else for this gentleman? Oh, I got you. I beat you to it. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else here for this? Please state your name and address.
Rachel Anchor and 1267 Banana Drive. I went through a lot of my, sorry, I'm like super nervous.
Yeah, okay. Take your time, no worries.
I've changed my life a lot since then. This is something that happened over 5 years ago. And I went through 4 years of probation with no troubles. I also went, I was on the electric monitor when I was at Fred's with no problems, and part of my probation, I went through 2 years of AODA counseling and behavioral counseling, and I graduated college and held my job through all of it. I'm a functioning member of society, and I feel that the denial is saying otherwise. And I'm just hoping for another chance, or for a chance just in general. I've never had my bartender's license for back. I'd like
Have you had a bartender's license for any other municipalities?
Ashwaubenon gave me an operator's license, and I had that for close to like 2 years, I want to say.
Okay. Questions?
Rachel, thanks for coming in. I know it's not easy, but I appreciate you coming in. You mentioned Fred's, that's where you're working right now?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Do you have any other letters or anything from, besides employers, anybody that you worked with?
I have one from my...
With you? I'm not work per se, but just any other letters of reference or anything that you...
From anybody?
I have one from my employer's office.
Okay. But like I said, you took some counseling and different things like that. I just was wondering if you have any documentation
Oh, I
of
have,
that.
I did bring, that's the, like the thing that they gave me at the place that I had the counseling, and it says, when I started, how many sessions I had, what I was treated for, and permission.
You went through it.
Yeah, and then that's my discharge from probation.
Okay, these are the things that are good, that we can look at. Okay, anything else?
I think that's all I have, yeah.
All right.
If you'd like, you can have the snack.
Yeah, we just
Yeah,
need
just
to
wanna look
kind
at
of
it.
see it.
Yeah.
That's all I have at this moment.
Anything else you could add? Thank you.
Yeah.
Anyone else here for this item? Motion to close the floor. No. Motion by Alder Randalls to close the floor. Seconded by Alder Stevens. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, the floor is now closed. Thank you, gentlemen.
That convinced me bringing that documentation forward. I'm all prepared to approve.
Yeah, seems like she certainly has changed her life. I'm just going to give you. I want to ask her what the degree in. Oh well. No, that's not that important. Just curious. It doesn't matter. She got a degree. Congratulations. I think she's turned her life around. She's already been given. She's already been issued a license from my municipality. Had it for 2 years, no problem. I see I have no problem here. Anything else? Anybody else? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, it passes unanimously. I should say that everything we do here is just a recommendation to the council, which will be meeting on February 18th. So that's where the final say is. So.
Bring your documentation.
Thank you.
Okay.
Vote.
Yep. All set. Now, Skogans. Consideration with possible action on a request by Skogans Foodliner Inc. at 2430 University Avenue to amend their liquor license description from one-story cement building.
Well, welcome to City Hall, where we're back
WS.
here. I have a little bit of a cold, so but we'll talk tonight a little bit how the city of Green Bay works. Show you some things about City Hall and the government.
It sounds like
This room that you're in right now is the city council chamber. So this is where.
Somewhere on a wireless mic?
Yes, thank you. I wonder if they can hear us.
Yeah, wireless mic hooked up to the
actually it's a fortuitous.
Well, I don't know about that.
I haven't heard that word in a while.
To a T.
Yeah.
To a T.
So
We'll just wait. All right. Description from one-story cement building, step W and S, storage and checkout. The one-story cement building, approximately 80,110 square feet with separate wine and spirit storage and checkout, including designated stalls and parking lot for online grocery pickup. Previously held at the October 8th, 2018 Protection and Policy Meeting. Thank you. Staff.
Okay, so the click and collect ordinance that was set forth to regulate this type of activity was defeated at the last council meeting. It was not adopted. Accordingly, the staff recommends that this request be denied, as we do not have an ordinance to adequately regulate click and collect sales.
Please concur.
Did you want to speak on this?
Sure, yes.
Okay,
You?
motion to open the floor.
Motion open.
Open by Alder Steuer, seconded by Alder Vanderleest, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That's open, if you, fill that out if you didn't. then-
Yeah, I got one.
Okay, and, your name and address, please.
It's Rick Teagarden, 2945 Emma Lane Drive, Green Bay. So I guess my question would be, if we don't have an ordinance in place, how do we proceed to get an ordinance in place? So I think in previous conversations, you know that we have 32 stores and approximately 25 of those stores are click and go. We're down to probably 3 of those 25 not having the ability to sell wine and spirits with the click and go program, and with one of us, with the Green Bay North store being one of the 3. So I guess how can we move
well,
this
you know,
forward?
this got shot down once before, we brought it back and it passed barely, and it got to the second reading and then got shut down again. So, we can try a third time. I don't know what kind of things, I would suggest before we try a third time, that maybe any stores who are interested in this, speak to alders and the mayor's office and try and get the support around it, because right now, I think we just went forward right now, we're still facing, we're not gonna get anything, unfortunately.
I actually checked out the mayor just a few days ago and had a short little conversation, so, but, yeah. So you're saying we
Right now-
proceed
We're stuck right now, those 3 stores are stuck right now, sorry, and,
well, they're not all in Green Bay, just us.
Okay.
So,
yeah, but,
we just have 2 other municipalities that are going through the same process, and so.
So my advice would be to talk to some alders who voted against it, talk to the mayor's office who cast a deciding vote, and perhaps after those conversations, we can contact staff or
Or in order to.
an alder,
have it
you can
placed-
contact me
placed.
to put in another communication. We'll give her another run.
Okay, all right. Well, thank you very much.
Yeah,
We'll do that.
yeah, thanks.
Thanks.
Sorry. Yes, Alder Dorf?
Thank you. I just would like to know, can any of the alders put in another communication, or can it only be someone that voted? No, okay, well then I will be putting in another communication at the next council meeting to come back to this committee to reconsider it.
I would recommend not doing it at council, because then it has to be published, and I can't just go to clerk's office and put it into communication, or send it to me, or whatever. Yep, sure.
I will be putting that in then, thank you.
Okay, that's it then, okay, thank you. Mr. Mayor, did you have a?
I got some special guests. I know you're in the middle of a meeting, and thank you for checking me out. We have the Weevil Scouts from St. Bernard Parish that are here learning about government. I'm like, you picked a good night.
Yeah.
So we'll spend some time in my office, and I was just explaining how the committees work and full council debates, the executive office. So I didn't want to interrupt. I just told them this is a good night to stop in and say hello to one of their 12 local representatives. They just want to wave and say hi. All right, that's nice to hear.
All right, we're going to go back to work.
Motion to close the floor by Alder Steuer, seconded by Alder Stevens, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The floor is now closed, so a motion to deny? Well, would be
It would be to deny.
to deny. Motion denied by Alder Vanderleest, seconded by Alder Steuer, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Should almost oppose it just for one.
I forgot to mention, to deny a liquor license, we need to state on the record the basis for that denial.
So the basis would be that we have no ordinance to regulate this license.
Perfect.
We're on denying or just amending?
Well, we're denying,
Because
this is being denied. It doesn't affect their other license. Consideration with possible action on a request by Ultimate Mart LLC at 1819 Main Street to amend their liquor license to read one-story retail grocery and liquor at 1819 Main Street, including the exterior parking stall specifically designed for the online merchandise order and pickup service, and the pathway utilized to access the parking stall. I take it this is the same,
Yes.
so.
Staff recommendation would be the same to deny.
Please concur. Anybody here just to speak on this? Okay, motion open the floor.
motion open the phone.
By Alder Stoyer, seconded by Alder Stevens, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Okay, make sure you fill out a form, please, if you have it.
I did.
And, okay, state your name and address, please.
Yes, my name is Brianna Cotton. I work for Roundy Supermarkets. My address is 875 East Wisconsin Avenue, Milwaukee. I'm here for the same request for our pickup service in order to provide a full service to the community. We would really like to include this at this store, as well as it's already been approved at the Oshwagonon store and the Bellevue store. So we'd really like to be able to provide citizens of Green Bay the same things we provide everybody else. So I heard, obviously I was here for the last motion, so I look forward to further discussion on this.
Me too. Any questions or anything? Thank you. Motion closed.
Motion closed.
Motion closed by Alder Stoyer.
Second.
Second by Alder Vanderleest, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Floor is now closed. Motion to deny. Alder Vanderleest. Seconded by Alder Stevens. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, well, that's pretty good timing.
And the basis is the same, that there is no ordinance.
That basis is saying there's no ordinance to enforce the, and we voted. And now we can go back. Number 4.
Back to
Agenda.
item 4.
Are we ready to go?
Yes, we are ready to go.
Consideration with possible action on appeal by Gary Wisniewski regarding his reinspection fees. Staff, you're up. I hope you caught your breath.
I did. I don't, the package should be
Yep.
with the information you have. I don't have anything new to add at this point. I just have to comment on whatever Gary has to say, because everything's in the packet that's prepared for you.
Okay. Does anyone have
Any
any questions
questions?
for staff? on this? Okay. Okay. Then I take a motion to open the floor.
Motion open.
Motion by Alder Stewart, second by Alder Stevens, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, the floor is now open.
Gary Wisniewski, 773 East River Drive, Depew, Wisconsin. Yeah, I've been bombarded with reinspection fees. I don't know why. It was given 3 different dates in which to complete the work that the tenant has caused on one of my rental properties. Yet they were only out there, I think, 4 times for inspections, one more than what they originally were going to schedule. And I got 4 reinspection fees. It was a lot of work. There was a lot of trash. I hauled out about 16 garbage bags and 3 full pickup trucks out of there. A lot of repair caused by the tenant. A lot of cleaning needed to be done, and they didn't give us a whole lot of time to do it. Brenda was the inspector for that particular property, and she called one day to get the place inspected. were re-inspected, and I couldn't make it, my manager couldn't make it. So she gave her the combination, or the lockbox combination, so she could just open it up, get the key, and go in and take a look at it. I didn't know why she wanted to go back in there, because we weren't done yet, but she went back in there saying, the place isn't done. Well, she gave us 3 different dates to get the stuff done. She gave us re-inspection fee on that, even though we still had a couple more dates to go. Second time, she set up an appointment when I'm driving in my truck. I had nothing to write with, and she gave me a date, and I asked her to give me a call when she's on her way so I could meet her. That day of that inspection, I called her at 9 o'clock in the morning saying, listen, what time is it? Because I want to make sure I'm there. I waited all morning for that call. She never called me. Finally, I get a call. I'm sitting by my desk. I get a call. I'm in De Pere. She says, we're here. Where are you? I says, I'll be right there. You know, I was expecting a call so I can meet you. I get another call when I'm in Ashwaubenon, halfway there, and they says, where are you? We want to get in this place. And I told them, I said, well, use the combination and get in. Says, we don't have the combination. My manager gave it to her. Where'd you do with it? You know, expected me to know what that combination was right off the top of my head. I said, it's in my phone. Give me a minute. I can look it up. Call me back. Taking me about 45 seconds. I almost had it. But then nothing. They left on me. I get all the way down there. They couldn't wait. I asked Jason, he was with her. I asked them, give me 7 minutes, I'll be there. They couldn't give me 7 minutes. The inspection department asked for 15 here, they got it. I couldn't have 7. You know, I didn't do anything wrong. I didn't even rent to this lady. I didn't damage the place. It says right in this inspection report that it's the tenant's responsibility to keep it clean. Did she get any fines? Did she get any orders to do the cleaning? Did she get any of these fees? Nothing. They come on to me, talking to me over the phone like I'm some type of lowlife, that I don't deserve anything. And that's the way I've been treated. I feel like I'm a nothing and nobody, and I'm not that way. You know, I was voted last week as a volunteer of the week for the Brown County Volunteer Center. I give a lot of my time to different organizations. The St. John Homeless Shelter for 2 years. Meyer Theater I volunteered for. Evergreen Theater I volunteered for. You know, if I got to pay this money out, it's coming from the donations that I give out to this community. Because I'm not taking the money from the food from my table to pay these fees. I just think they're excessive. I talked to Cheryl Wiggs. I said, what is it for all these fees? She says, well, get used to it because we're going to be giving them out right and left. Get used to it. So I don't know if the city of Green Bay's having financial problems, that they're looking at this as another way of taxing people. I just don't think it's right. And I think I should be treated better than what I have been treated over the phone and in person with the inspection department. So I'm asking for these fees to be dropped. They got done. They got completed. It was a lot of work. I got it done within a pretty reasonable amount of time. They could have, the last inspection fee I got from the plumbing inspector, Jason, I believe his name is, all along, he accused me of being the one that did some illegal plumbing. And I told him I did not. But yet he talks to me and he accuses me like I'm the one that's doing the plumbing work, and I didn't do any work on the plumbing. So instead of him just warning me, saying, if you ever do it again, we're going to give you a fine, he gives me another inspection fee. He says, I don't even have to go out there to get that inspection fee. All I have to do is open the file, I'm going to give you another one. And he did. He opened the file, gave me another one, then after he did it, he gave me a warning, do not do any inspections. I mean, really, do you have to be that bad to be a Green Bay inspector? I'm at lost in why they have to behave in such a way. I'm not a criminal. I didn't do this work. you know, all this damage. It's my own property that got damaged too. I've lost a lot of money, you know, fixing this place up, and that was destroyed by a tenant that I didn't even rent to, my manager did. So I'm asking for these fees to be dropped, and I'm just asking for the city of Green Bay to be reasonable. And I was reasonable, more than reasonable, you know. They make mistakes, they don't write down the combination, they don't come on time, they get away with everything. I can't get away with anything. I'm just asking to be treated equal here. You know, that was a lot of work. I can show you the pictures of the city had of the, you know, the damage done and the trash and everything. Pages and pages of it, and they expected me to get it done in less than about a month's time. Here's pictures of it. Here's orders. Here's a copy of my announcement. I just don't think they're very reasonable, and I just don't think they're very nice people. Not what I would think Green Bay would want to be known for.
Yep. We'll start with all our vendors.
I was going to ask you, Gary, how did the City of Green Bay Inspection Department get involved with this project with your property?
You know, there was a phone call. This is what I was told because I wasn't witnessing any of this firsthand. There was a phone call by the tenant. They thought somebody was in their basement. So they called the police department. Police came to inspect to see if anybody was there. They brought their dogs to make sure there was no one hiding in the basement, and it was all cleared that there wasn't anybody there. But they were shocked, I believe, by the way this lady kept the house. And I think I would have been too if I would have had a chance to. Well, I did have a chance to see it after she cleaned up some of it, but that's how they got involved. Is this police department, after seeing how the housekeeping skills that she had, they called the inspection department.
It looks like a pretty extensive type of cleanup from the pictures that.
Yeah, and.
What is the actual amount of the fees that you were assessed as far as the reinspection fees? How much are the fees total?
It's either 200 or 250. I'm not sure if it was 4 of them or 5 of them. 4 of them then? Yeah. So 200. I'm asking 200.
200. Any other questions?
That's all the questions I have. Thank you.
Alder Stevens?
Curiosity, was this resident still here while this was all going on?
She was here for part of it. They had a problem getting in and inspected originally, Brenda did, because the mother wasn't home, the child wasn't going to let her in, so she came back later that day to get in to do the inspection, and put orders right on there that, you know, she needed to clean the place up, and sorry. Did I answer your question?
Sure. And out of curiosity, how often do you inspect your own properties?
I hire.
The quotas we're seeing here, this doesn't happen overnight. So.
Yeah. I'm not a slumlord. I hire a very professional manager to take care of these properties. If she slipped up, you know, so be it. She slipped up on, obviously she did when picking this one. I mean, I wasn't happy about it. It doesn't cost her anything out of her pocket to let a bad one slip by, but it cost me an awful lot, and I'm not happy about it.
Well, don't get me wrong, I'm in the same type of business you're in, so but this is quite a lot.
Other questions?
Not right now.
Alder Steuer?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, thanks. Well, Gary, Gary, I gotta ask.
Any more questions?
There's a couple things here. You have 12 other units, and they said there's been 18 complaints over the last number of years. Can you talk about that a little bit? I think one of the...
Sure I can.
Just, you know, for information.
Summarize it. You know, the city of Green Bay is looking for low-income housing for people in this area. They want reasonable rents. And I understand that, but in the meantime, when they're attracting people from other areas that are a little bit undesirable, you know, for Racine and Milwaukee and Chicago and stuff. And some of these people are good. They're hard to check out when they're from Cook County and you're looking on online to see what type of where they lived in the past 3 times, you know, from their activities. So some of them slip through, and when they do, you give them a 5-day eviction notice. When you give them a 5-day eviction notice, the majority of them will call the inspection department, and before the inspection department gets there, they will damage the property and point out every single thing that they broke and every single thing that was wrong in one way or another through wear and tear or whatever the case may be. And it's revenge. It's revenge from getting back at the landlord. They want to give as much grief and as much expense as they can for revenge for getting evicted. If the inspection department would come right out right away when they get there and say, have you been evicted? You know, probably 60% of them would say yes. And now they know why they're there. They don't care why they're there. They're there for one reason only, just to keep the housing code up to standard. They not care who broke it, how it got done. They just want everything up to standard code. That's their job.
Well, I think the reason I asked it is that, we as alders, we go out in our districts quite a bit. Well, I know, but I'm just getting to the point, just looking at properties that have that type of issue. And I guess for me, if you have 18 complaints and you're saying it's revenge related, I can't see maybe every one of those being like that. So I guess this is a he said, she said kind of thing. And we're just trying to gather data here.
Well, the one before this was Oakland. The people took a hammer or some hard object and smashed all the strikers in the doors so they couldn't lock. So I got written up on 719 Oakland that fix these doors, they don't lock properly. Well, come on, it's common sense. Would they have rent that place if none of the doors locked? Just a coincidence, the front door, back door, and the garage service door don't lock. They're all damaged strikers, you know. And the one before that was Monroe Street. It was a tenant that's getting evicted, and they called the city, and the city found some things that got fixed right away. The other thing was steps on the back of the unit, because originally the porch didn't have a door on it, but homeless people were coming under the porch and sleeping there at night. Police couldn't control that, the behavior of the people. So the landlord must have put doors on it, because when I bought it, there were doors on it. Putting doors on it made them steps illegal. So I got written up for illegal steps that I need to replace. You know.
All right, that's all I have for now.
I need a clarification. Okay, this looks like this all started November 1st of last year. Was this tenant still occupying this unit?
Yes.
And when did she vacate the property?
I don't know. Sometime, I would believe it was sometime in November though.
Okay, because our inspections are 10 days, so this should have been cleaned up in 10 days. If she was still there, she should have been helping you.
No, we didn't even start with cleaning until she was out of that place.
I'm just saying a lot of this is the tenant's responsibility as well as the owner. Okay, thank you for clarifying.
Gary, one other question. On the properties you own in Green Bay, is this the only re-inspection fees that you owe the city of Green Bay at this time?
It's the only ones I ever got in my life.
Okay. All right, thank you for that information.
Any other questions? Anything else you care to add?
Not at this time.
Okay, now we'll leave the floor open. So, anything from staff? Okay. Yep, questions then? Yep.
Would you like to come up, sir? As far as the time frame that Gary was dealing with, there's 4 inspection fees related to this. Was there any confusion as far as, was getting in the place or whatever, as far as?
There was, in the last instance where they tried to get in, they couldn't get in, the combination that they gave them on the phone didn't work, and then he was gonna look up another one. There wasn't enough time, they didn't call back, and then our guys called me, and it was still 10 minutes later, and he didn't have it, so they decided to leave. For that one, they needed 2 inspectors. Brenda was going as the chief inspector for the inside of the building, Jason was there as the plumbing inspector, checking out the plumbing work that was done.
Well, I'll just ask, it just seemed like Gary was talking about a little disconnect between, you know, your department and him, you know, on various times when he's driving over and that type of thing. Can you relate much on that as far as the 7 minutes that he needed to get over there? And
Not without pulling like phone logs to see whether it was truly 7 minutes or it was.
But sometimes that type of thing can happen.
It was a set appointment that was scheduled, which is why Brenda and Jason went at that time. He didn't write it down or forgot. He said he called the office, which is entirely possible and quite probable. But by 9 o'clock, they're out in the field already. They don't check their desk phones when they're out in the field. They do when they come back at the end of the day, but not during the day.
Well, I realize that they have a certain number of inspections that they do during the course of the day, but there's no way to contact them while they're out in the field. Let's say something came up.
They could have called the front office, and the front office could call the inspectors in the field. They don't give their cell phone number.
No, I understand.
It's too much.
Okay.
I was gonna ask Gary, if he cut this fee in half from $200 to $100, would you be comfortable with that? He did have to make 4 trips out there. They did make 4 trips out there. I know there was some confusion. So when they would cut that fee from $200 to $100.
Brenda wouldn't have had to if she would have called me when she was on her way. I would have been there. Jason, this last one I got, he didn't have to give it to me. He waited, he could have gave me the warning not to do any plumbing and be done with it and close the file, but no, he wanted to give me one more, saying I looked at the file, now I gave you a warning. I'd be willing to pay one. I think it's more than reasonable.
Would you consider half, in other words, half of the fees that they're asking for? They're asking for 200. Yeah. Would you be comfortable with cutting it in half?
No, I wouldn't be.
You said no?
I mean, she had the combination, she could have went in, she didn't.
There was some confusion on the combination or whatever that they didn't get in. But they still had to make 4 trips out there.
But she's scheduled for 3 different times to go out there. She didn't go out there in January the last time she's supposed to, because we got it done before that. So, I mean, if you take the 3 times, the 3 different dates that she had to go inspect the place, that'd be 3 times. I'll pay the 1 inspection fee that she had to go for the 4th time.
They went for 2 inspection times, and those are the 2 that they charged her. This whole thing started back in November. Gave them till middle of December to make corrections, and then the re-inspection date was set for that December. It wasn't done. The inspection fee was charged. Then they did the second one with a set time, and he wasn't there. Those are the 2 trips, the 2 inspection fees for each of them.
Well, it looks like that re-inspection was 45 days after the initial complaint. That's quite a long time.
We're still here.
Thanks. Paul, the floor's still open, correct?
Right.
Okay. Gary, what we're trying to do here is maybe find some kind of compromise here. I mean, I know that you feel that it's unjustified. I kind of concur with Alder Vanderleest on this as far as trying to find a happy medium. And I agree with Alder Stevens as far as the fact that, the pictures that I see here seem like this took some period of time to get to that point. So, he's in the apartment business and he sees things. So I just feel like that there was some, I won't say negligence, but, just a lack of effort maybe through your property manager. So I concur with Alder Vanderleest. Yeah.
That's our discussion.
Right.
Let's get the information.
That's all. That's all.
Let me show you one more piece of evidence. It shows that it was, everything was corrected on 12/28. So you had on on 1/2, Jason really had the inspection fee after everything was good. Re-inspection fee, just because you turned on this computer and you said, oh,
That, the 1/2 inspection that you're referring to is actually from the 27th. With the holidays and stuff in there, the invoicing and whatnot, it occurred on the 2nd, but it actually, the inspection was from the 27th.
I think one question I have, Paul, is that, on some of these inspection fees that are levied, some could take 1 minute, some could take half hour. I mean, is there any rhyme or reason as far as time frame for some of this?
For what, the dollar
No,
amount?
well, yeah, the dollar amount, and the amount of time, I know they're all different,
They're all
but.
different. So right now, the $50 is the flat fee that has been established in the past, not under me, but I'd like to look at that. It's been established as that's quote unquote the max that we can charge right now for an inspection fee, based on time and mileage and whatnot. I don't think it's high enough based on everything that goes into the inspection.
That's all I have.
Question on, if a property owner needs more time, is there a process, can they call and say, maybe another?
Yeah, we advocate that. We advocate working with us to come up with a plan to make the improvements or changes or corrections that have to be done. By the time we get to the re-inspection process, those avenues haven't been, they've been pursued, but with no results. So this is when we go into the re-inspection fee process, because we gotta make a point. We can't keep going. In the past, we used to go back for free, but it doesn't, you don't get anywhere. The issues still stand. You don't get resolution on what you're trying to resolve.
Well, we'll get a chance to go over it. And when it comes to the renters, what responsibilities, they're probably responsible too? How does that, how do we factor that in? Can we?
We don't really. Yes, they did some of it,
right,
but our onus is on the landlord.
Right.
The landlord is the one that's doing the rental and is accountable for the building. If we had to track down and prove on every case that the tenant did that, it wasn't the landlord, so on and so forth, we would get nowhere.
Would that be some more on the landlords?
It's on their,
go after them?
Yes, it's
right,
after the fact they can pursue that individual that they chose to rent to.
As well as going after the management company.
Correct.
For, right. Yeah. I'm sorry, Alder Alvin?
Just the landlords can also have them charged in municipal court with criminal damage to rental property. They can also have them charged for failure to pay rent. That way, if they're convicted, it follows them through CCAP. So when other landlords in the future are to do a background check on them, they can see these crimes have been they've been charged and convicted of it. So that was a tool that was put in place several years ago to assist the landlords. They again have to be the ones though that file a complaint and follow through with the charges.
Thank you. Yep, that's helpful. Why is CCAP? Why not a BCAP?
Oh, they gave up.
I'll ask you.
Yep.
Gary, after listening to some of this, what Alder Galvin brought up and what Paul's brought up, you still feel unjustified that things didn't work out your way? Or, like I said, you could pursue it, you could have pursued these tenants.
That's a joke.
Well, I'm just asking. What you're...
Of course, we're gonna go to CCAP and put it out there so other landlords don't get burnt by this lady. But that's, that's $90 that I'm gonna forfeit in addition to all the money that she cost me, just so other landlords don't get burnt. Now, he mentioned the fact that there was no work done when they did inspection, so they're of course gonna do an inspection fee so that you get this landlord going here. That's not the case in this case. There was quite a bit of work done when they came and inspected the first time. There was quite a bit more done the second. Matter of fact, she added some more stuff to the list. So there was progress, and there was three different, like I said, there was 3 different times that it should be corrected by. The last one being January 14th. It was closed before the 1st of January. Everything was done. So she didn't have to come out on the 14th of January to do any inspections. She saved the inspection right there.
Well, it did sound like, you know, Paul was mentioning that there were times that were set up for you to be there, and for whatever reason, you weren't. And you know, even though you said, well, you know, I was here, I was there, what have you, you know, we're all busy, but I think when they set up the times and you weren't there,
Well,
sorry. Go ahead.
I was there for the closing one, where Brenda went through and the plumber went through and said everything looks good. I tried to be, I called her in 9 o'clock in the morning to make sure I could catch her before she leaves for her day, so that she can return my call to give me the exact time, so I'm there. But she informed me that she didn't come in until noon. She didn't even bother going to her office to answer any of the messages. She went straight out to the field. And that's why she didn't catch my message at 9 o'clock, because she didn't go until noon that day. But she still told me she would call me when she was on the way, and she didn't. She called me after she was sitting there, you know, after she got there, which didn't give me enough time to get there to meet her. You know, technicality, yes, but it's like, she didn't return my phone call. You know, sure, I made a couple mistakes. She made a couple mistakes. Let's call it a wash. Let's be reasonable. I got the work done less than 2 months' time. That's what they want. They want results, and they got it.
Was there?
So when you have to go to the property to do the inspection, do you have a re-inspection here? Do you notify them that you're coming out to make sure the work is done?
In this particular case, I don't know if they did, but in this one, they had a set time, so this one I know they did. But in general, do I know?
It's like 10 days, right?
It all varies. Okay. That's one of the things we're working on to get tighter, so that there is less variability, you know, what the times are for this. We're cleaning things up and addressing issues.
I got something, but it's for later. It's not really pertinent here. Maybe something to think about. But anything else? Anything else? Just one. When this all started, and they gave you 45 days, you were part of that discussion. And if you needed more time, was there a reason why you didn't call and negotiate that with staff?
I don't think time was the issue here. It's just communication and getting there at the right time. Because like I said, we got it done by before the end of December, and her last case was, last inspection was, she has here for number 7, keeping the living unsanitized and cluttered state, gave until January 14th to get that done. So I did get it done in time. That's not the issue. It's just that they're throwing this stuff out like these fees. They're throwing them out like they're desperate to stay in business.
But the reinspection fees start after a time has been set for you to get the work done. And if you needed more time before they start reinspecting, I mean, that could have all been avoided if you had called and talked to staff about saying, I've got so much, I'm making pretty good progress, I've got so much done, I need this much more time, 15 more days, 16 and a half more days, whatever. Then they don't even come out to reinspect until after that time.
I did call her in the morning at 9 o'clock to say that I can reach you. I don't need the time. We can go ahead and do the inspection at 9 o'clock, but she didn't check her messages.
But they did come out, and there was still work to be done.
They didn't get into her building because she didn't bring the code with her, and she didn't bother going in the door, and she wasn't willing to wait 7 minutes for me to get there to let them in.
But at that time, all the work was done?
Yeah. They just didn't go in.
We're convoluting two different things.
Yep, okay.
The first reinspection fee was December 12th. Yes. So way back in November, wrote the orders, get it cleaned up, we're coming back on the 12th. Went back on the 12th, still had all these issues that were unresolved. We gave them more time. and set up another reinspection. That was the 27th. Then at that one, it passed, but they couldn't get in, so they had to come back. Well, I don't know if it passed. They couldn't get in, so they came back the last time.
And that
they did
passed.
it. Yes.
Right. But, and what I'm trying to get at is that even before we get to the reinspect, I mean, you went once and there's still work to do. If you had contacted staff and extended that time, they wouldn't even have came out once. Because even if they come out once, there's a fee, correct?
Well, no.
That was my question.
No, there isn't. So let's say that on November when we did the orders, on December 12th, we were coming back for the reinspection. If it passes, good, everything's done, no reinspection fee. It got reinspection fee because it didn't pass. And the reinspection fee on the 27th was because they couldn't get in. They wasted a trip to go back there.
I have a question for you now.
Sure.
So if everything was done within, say, just 45 days here, you wouldn't have charged that $50 fee?
Correct.
So would you be willing to accept $150 for this full inspection? Just take the 50 off for that one day?
For which day?
The 12th.
They go in twos. So both Brenda and Jason went there because of the issues, and Brenda and Jason went on the second one. So it's $200.
Okay.
There were plumbing issues
Sure.
that were illegally done.
I see that.
And that's part of the side story that's not all in here, trying to get to the bottom of how that happened. There was nothing provided to explain who did the work. And Jason was trying to get to the bottom and figure that out. So no, there's 2 inspections by each of them.
So the inspection fees are, the $200 are for the inspection department. Plumbing inspection is above and beyond that?
Nope, that was
all part of it?
Yep.
Okay.
2 people went, so there were 2 $50 inspections.
So why did 2 people go?
Because there was a plumbing violation, and Brenda has the housing and zoning relative to all the pictures you saw. Plumbers don't get into that part. They each have their own responsibility.
Alder.
Thank you. So, go ahead, but I'll put it in the form of a question.
Okay.
Since we're in jeopardy here.
Yeah.
So we have a process in the city. We have an inspection fee process that we've approved. We think that we are doing the right thing. As you stated, if you don't have the fee, there's no teeth to it, so nothing happens. So let's see, how can I put this in the form of a question? Why would we reduce the amount of the fee? Why would we not support our department and our inspectors, who we should be trusting, who are trained to do this, who are experienced in doing this, and they're just following the process that we as alders, that we as a city have put in place? Why should we not charge the full fee? That's my question.
I can't answer that. I would be charged.
Yeah.
Okay, thank
They would
you.
be charged.
Thank you.
And the last time there was.
That one had some
That was different.
This is pretty straight up.
Straight up. Any other questions for anyone involved? Any other last statements you care to make before we close the floor?
Yeah. I just think they went overboard on the fees. I mean, if there was one time that you write off, there would be $100, because there's $100 a crack. It was 2 times that they would have waited the 7 minutes and let me in, or let them in, or if they would have brought the code or used the code that they were given, there wouldn't have been that second fee. There would have only been the 1 fee. It's $100 a crack. It's not $50 a crack.
Right.
It's 100.
Right.
So.
Yes, there's 2.
And they're just, it's not like they went there and nothing was done. I got quite a bit of work done. And the second time they went there, it was done. So.
Gary, I just had a question. This whole thing with the plumbing, to me, it seems like the work was done by someone and there was no permit for it, or what's your take on that?
No, the work was done. The work was done by a guy that rents from me, and
Which by code you can't do. You gotta have a license to do the work, which Gary knows.
And that's my
no,
question.
it was minor plumbing. It states in the state laws that minor plumbing is allowed by tenants. Matter of fact, it's their responsibility to do the minor plumbing. When you want to put little rubber gaskets in because it's leaking, you got a trap to put on. Minor plumbing is you don't have to have a license for. What I did not know is, you don't have to have a license to put a rubber gasket in. But he informed me that you do have to have a license to put a trap on. So that I did not know. And this guy went ahead and did it. Well, I thought he did it. His buddy did it. And I paid cash, so when he asked me who did it, I told him who did it. I cooperated with him. I told him where he lived. I didn't have his phone number. But still, he didn't want to believe me that this guy did it. And then turn around and gave me the warning anyway after
I think part of it is the fact that, you have 12 different units, and these are things that, ignorance is no excuse. I think in something like this, that's something that, no matter how trivial you think it is, I still think that it's important that you know that. So, that's just my take. That's all I got.
Anything else?
Yeah, I had a manager to handle this, and I'm sorry that the manager didn't do a better job, and I just think that they should be a little more reasonable and not so cold-hearted as they are.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Motion to close the floor.
Motion to close the floor by Alder Steuer, second by Alder Vanderleest. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? The floor is now closed. Gentlemen, what are you thinking?
Rules-wise, I think it's kind of a learning curve, I think, for the landlord. And I know there's some confusion on the city side. I know that, we tried to collect our inspection fees. They've been out there a few times. My recommendation would be to charge them $100. And I think that's more than reasonable. And
Discussion on that?
I think initially I was in favor of that, but I think after hearing about the plumbing issue and a couple other things, I'm starting to change my mind. I appreciate Alder Dorf and Alder Galvin stating that. So I feel that the fee should be paid. That's my motion.
Oh, motion. Okay, got a motion for deny the appeal. Is there a second? Second by Alder Stevens. More discussion? No? Okay, well, I'd just say that I think your management let you down big time and they owe you. But that's between you and them, I'm afraid. We have to, our inspectors are working hard, they're out there working, and we're in the process of changing, making things more efficient, more workable. I don't think our staff is terribly negligent in any way, so I think you need to go after your management to recoup their losses. They're the ones who I think have really dropped the ball on this in a lot of ways. I'm in agreement. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay.
Do you want to do a roll call vote?
Your own name? Okay, yep. Yep, okay, yes, deny, I'm sorry.
Yeah, what is?
No denies the appeal, right?
Because it's a motion to deny, yes denies the appeal.
Nice denies the appeal.
Yes. It's not working? I think because I marked it all as yes.
Can we just clear it out? Or?
See that again.
I can just do it manually put it in. Alder Stevens was a yes vote.
Yes.
Yes to deny.
Yes to deny.
Alder Vanderleest is a no to deny.
No to deny.
Alder Steuer is a yes to deny.
Yes.
And Alder Scannell is a yes to deny.
Yes.
Okay, that passes on the vote of 3-1.
Okay, and that is, okay, well, goes to council. Thank you. We are a 5-minute break. How about a 7-minute break? I think there's a couple of us. Motion to hold to take a break for 7 minutes. Motion by Alder Stevens, second by Alder Steuer. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, we're in a 7-minute recess. It's recess! Yay! there's some bugs to be.
Oh, okay.
Have you seen?
Oh, yeah, I did see that. Application for B3 changing.
I was a little worried, but I got a call from the attorney on it. He just said, very, very good job.
Still recording? I can't just stop the feed, so. You can't stop it?
So you're on.
Oh, yeah, I could actually.
No, really?
Could have
You could
promo
block
for
me
a
out, block me
campaign.
out,
Are there any other, I have to give people time if there are any other candidates here.
Yeah, no.
All right, you're good.
Yeah, good. I'm not looking that way. Well, that took a little while. But you know what? I'll tell you what. I think it's, as time goes on, I've been meaning to talk to Cheryl from last week. This weekend we had Super Bowl Yeah, he had a decent one for it with Uncle Connell.
We will see what we come up with. Or if you figure out if they staff or we go either way. But we could probably
Okay, here's what I found.
We'll give me that.
I think and that's, I know, I think it all probably was, but I didn't know for sure. Okay. So we'll make that part of our
Yes, that's right, yeah. So you understand why, binary nature.
All right, well, I'll tell them that contact them later on. All right.
Where you
Figure out where we left off.
We're down to 11.
Item number 11.
Lucky 11.
Yep.
Okay, we don't need a motion to come back in session, do we? We just
I think we probably do.
Motion to
Yes.
resume. Motion to resume by Alder Steuer, seconded by Alder Van Leest. All in favor to get it going again?
Aye.
Opposed? We're rocking and a rolling. Number 11?
One second.
Yep. Consideration of possible action on application for a Class B combination license by V3 LLC at 2056 Main Street, Suite 1, with a licensed premise description as bar, walk-in cooler, storage. Previously V3 Entertainment LLC. Staff.
Yes, staff's recommendation would be to deny this application based on prior convictions of the applicant for several offenses, including 3 OWIs that substantially relate to the license, to building a liquor license, and which would disqualify the applicant as a habitual law offender under 125.04. The offenses should be detailed in your memo. Our recommendation is to deny based on prior convictions. The law requires that we provide the applicant an opportunity to present evidence of rehabilitation and fitness to engage in the license activity. Normally this would require us to hold the application to allow the applicant to bring forward any evidence, but it's my understanding that the applicant has submitted a statement with his application and wishes to present that as his evidence for the committee to hear. And I also believe police department has some comments and recommendations that they would like to share with respect to their contact with the applicant in relation to his involvement with the Catch-22 bar, another licensed establishment in the city.
Oh, please, yeah.
Okay, I read over the applicant's letter, and in it he told you that his conviction for the possession of a prescription medication was just acetaminophen. That was a lie. I did research, and he was convicted of possessing Percocet, which is a narcotic, so it wasn't Advil or something minor. It was a pretty substantial drug that he had on him, and it was more than 3 pills. If I remember right, it was 6 or 7 pills that he got caught with. That was an Schwabman case. Going through the applicant's history with the police department, going back all the way to 1994, it seems like once a year or every other year we were having contact with him for various offenses. Some were municipal, some were referred over to circuit court that were charged, some were not charged. The 3 OWIs, as the law department said, one was recent as a recent as 2017. In terms of him being part of an owner with Catch-22, I could tell you from my experience working night shift, when this was all going on, we devoted an exorbitant amount of resources responding to that bar based on the two bar owners or people on the license not getting along. I'm not placing blame on one or the other. Our concern is if he enters into another agreement with another bar owner or somebody and the business isn't working out, are we gonna fall under the same thing where equipment's being removed from a bar, so we're being called there left and right, claiming us burglaries, claiming us robberies. I could tell you, we probably devoted at his former establishment that he owned easily 50 man-hours at a minimum, just to try and deal with the situation. So for all those reasons, the police department recommends denying of this license.
Questions for staff? Motion open the floor by Alder Steuer, seconded by Alder Vanderleest. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Floor is now open. Is there anybody here for this? Suppose we should ask that first. Please step up, state your name and address. If you haven't filled out one of the forms, please fill those out before you go.
I'm Jerry McLeod. I'm 3681 Pine Grove Road. Yeah, I made some mistakes back in the future, but a long time ago. But I was like 20 years ago. I got my first couple of DWIs. I had some problems with the necks. And then for Catch-22, I was not involved in all those police calls. I signed off on that bar on February 1st of last year, and ever since then is when it all went downhill from there. I had nothing to do with that. I own another bar in Hilbert, and I have had that for over a year now, and I have another license for that, and I'm the agent on that. And I had no police calls, no nothing on that either.
One of the questions I have, your letter, you're speaking on, you know, like, yeah, I was having a tough situation, or, I mean, you were just talking about various things, and it seems to me that, you know, you're apologetic, but I think part of it is accountability, you know, and just reading this, I didn't feel you were as accountable on some of this. Not making excuses, it was you, but it just seemed to me that you were not as accountable and responsible as you could have been. And if you can tell me otherwise, I'd like to hear it.
I bought the brother, or my brother-in-law, my sister. I've been running for the last couple months now. I just can't do anything with it until I get a liquor license. I don't know. I mean, as far as Catch-22, I mean, I was there for first year. We didn't have no police calls until after the whole mess started with, it was just turned into a big mess, and I had to get out of it. So we wrote up an agreement, I signed off on it, and that's just when everything turned sour.
As far as 2017, there's a third OWI.
Yes.
Okay. And you've had this bar in Hobart for a year?
Hilbert.
Over
a year. I got it last year in December, and I've been operating it for over a year now. I had no police phone calls, and I got no problems out there at all.
Okay, any other questions for this? Anything else you care to add? Okay, thank you. Motion to close the floor by Alder Steuer.
Somebody else wants.
Oh, I'm sorry, okay.
Chris Knudsen, 1754 Mountain Court here. I'm the current license holder of E3. Jerry's my brother-in-law. I wanted to take it over. I think he's capable of doing it. I was around for all of the Catch-22 stuff. I know what happened. He wasn't a part of it. He had restraining orders. She broke them. She was the one going to jail, not him. I don't think you can hold it against him when it wasn't him. So when they opened that bar, it was a 50-50 ownership. she did some shady stuff. She got him removed from the paperwork. Legally, it doesn't show that he ever was a part owner of it, even though he was. Her and her accountant, they did some shady stuff. They got him out. He fought for what he could, but in the end, I mean, the restraining orders were on her, not on him. She's the one that got convicted of all kinds of stuff. She's the one that went to jail for it, not him. He's been running his bar in Hilbert. I think he's at over a year now. He's got no issues there, no violations. He's done a really good job of it, and I think he'll do a really good job here. It's a good establishment. We've had it open for almost 2 years now. It's good clientele, and I think he'll do real well there.
So you'd be the co-owner?
Nope, not at all.
You're passing?
I'm passing it over to him completely.
That's what's going on here. Okay.
Yep, he's got no partners. It's 100% him, no business partners, no nothing. So I think he'll do well with it. He's proven to be doing well with his other bar. Yeah, I think he'll do well. That's it.
Any questions? Thank you. Motion to close the floor by Alder Steuer. Second by Alder Stevens. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Floor is now closed. Gentlemen, any thoughts? Well, I'll jump in then. Started us out. When there's a co-owner, that can be very sticky wicket, and we've had some other situations similar like that come before us, and it's really tough to sort it through. I think what helps me is two things. One, he's had an establishment elsewhere for a year on his own, no trouble, and he's had someone speak up from here who I dealt with him before. He runs good businesses. He's got a good business acumen. He's vouching for him. I think that helps a lot. So I'm willing to give him the benefit of the doubt that I wouldn't if it was a double owner situation where we have more difficulty sorting out who did what, it's too difficult to decide that without some other evidence. So for me, I'm willing to set that aside and give him the benefit of the doubt that he was more the injured party than the injury party, more the party that was not so much the problem because of these other two things. So I'm looking to accept the appeal.
I think after hearing the testimony, I feel better about it as well. I appreciate you coming forward. So, and after reading the rest of that letter, it sounds like there were really a lot of things that went against you, out of your control. So I concur with Alder Scannell as well. So.
There does seem to be some discrepancies in the letter from what the police report is, like the actual product and the number of pills and so on, but that incident was 20 years ago, correct?
No.
Oh, I'm mistaken.
It was approximately 12 to 13 years ago.
Oh, well, okay, 12 to 13.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
2006.
yeah. So either way, I don't see that as a factor anymore. I don't think he's doing those pills. There's no evidence that that's an ongoing, whichever story works out back. And why there's a discrepancy, I don't know. There could be various reasons for that. I don't know if they're necessarily nefarious.
Just to clarify, this isn't an appeal. It's not for an operator's license. It's for a liquor license.
And we're down.
This is not an available because it's going from one licensee to another.
To another, right.
It's not an available.
So I would be granting the license.
Correct.
Thank you. Granting the license.
One quick question on that. In other words, involves a 1-year period, is that correct?
Yes, the liquor licenses are renewed once a year, correct?
I think that, after the 12-month period, if things aren't going well, we can deny the
We
license.
can recommend non-renewal, and then we would have an opportunity to, there would have to be.
In other words, that would be a year down the
Correct.
road if things don't go well for the first 12 months.
Right, but it would have to go through, similar to like a revocation hearing.
Right, it would be a semi-quasi judicial
Correct.
hearing, which is
Correct.
kind of a big deal, but
Yes.
I would favor granting the license and giving them another chance.
is there a motion to that effect?
Need the motion.
Alder Vanderleest made the motion, is there a second? Second by Alder Steuer, any further discussion? Do we need to vote on the board, or all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That carries unanimously, it'll be decided the 18th when it goes to council. Number 12. Consideration of possible action on an application for a Class B combination license by Kavarna Cafe LLC at 143 North Broadway with a licensed premises as kitchen, dining zones, storage cooler, currently licensed as Kavarna LLC. Staff?
Staff has no objections.
Please concur.
Motion approved.
Motion approved by Alder Steuer. Second by Alder Stevens. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, that passes unanimously. Consideration of possible action on an application by Scallywags High Cotton Club Limited at 121 North Adams Street for a reserve Class B combination license with a licensed premises as restaurant bar. Staff?
Yes, so this is for a reserve license. Staff has no objections. It is in the downtown moratorium set by resolution, but they will be operating as a restaurant and therefore qualify for an exemption.
A scrumptious restaurant.
Please concur.
With the scrumptiousness?
That too.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve by Alder Vanderleest. Second by Alder Stevens. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That passes unanimously. Here we go. Consideration of possible action on request by Alder Scannell to create an ordinance regarding vaping. Staff.
At this point, we would just, this is the first time that this is appearing on our agenda, we would just request that the committee refer to staff with direction as to what we would like to see in the ordinance.
Okay. Gentlemen, what would you like to see in the ordinance? Would you like to see an ordinance? Right now.
You brought this forward.
Right, I brought this forward. I brought
So
this
why don't
forward.
you-
Yep, let me give a little background on this. I brought this forward. I was not aware that we did not have an ordinance for minors considering vaping. I know when, several years ago when vaping first came out, I thought it was a pretty good idea, good product. If people are smoking cigarettes, you didn't have the tars and nicotine with vapes. But since that time, there have been some studies saying there are some health issues perhaps with vaping. I think there needs to be more studies done. And in the meantime, I think if cigarette smoking is illegal for minors, I think for now it would be wise to also make vaping and paraphernalia legal for minors as well. Perhaps in time we get the science behind it and we find out what the dangers are, or the studies were negligible and it's really not that hazardous. We could maybe rescind that. I don't know if it's a big deal if there are no health concerns, but for now, I think it's better to err on the side of caution. We certainly aren't the first ones to come up with an ordinance. We have an example of one. I would think my direction to staff would be to come up with one that makes it illegal to use vaping and be caught with paraphernalia. Or to sell paraphernalia to minors.
So it's with minors.
Only with minors.
Only with minors.
Only with minors. Yeah,
So you need a motion to
the ordinance would be directed towards the minor themselves or to?
Well,
To the minors themselves and businesses if they're selling to minors.
it's right there.
So to prevent selling to minors and prohibit minors. From having vaping paraphernalia.
Yep.
So, that's my motion.
Motion by Alder Steuer. Second by Alder Stevens. Anything else anyone cares to add to the, any other direction for staff?
That'd be a good start.
I think so. Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That passes unanimously. I think staff will look, they'll look at other ordinances and that's part of the
Bring
process.
something back.
Yep. Yep. You know what we want to look at, they'll put it together and do that by various ways. Okay? Ready for some fun? We're ready to go on? Consideration with possible action on a request by Alder Scannell to create an ordinance regarding sober servers. Staff?
Yes, so again, this is the first appearance of this item on our agenda. Our recommendation would be to refer to staff with direction from the committee as to what the committee would like to see in this possible ordinance.
We again have in our packet a ordinance to work off of if we wish to, and we also I sent out some other materials on this. In support of this, I brought this forward, so let me start with what this is all about. There's been some rumors going around. I'd certainly like to dispel that since I'm the alder for District 7, which includes the downtown, that this is a downtown issue. It is certainly not a downtown issue. This is not coming forward in response to any particular incident with any bar. We are not singling out any bars. We're not trying to go after any bars. This came about going back to the click and go ordinance, in which there were some people who came forward speaking out against that, concerned about making alcohol more available in our community. I disagreed with them on that issue, but began talks with them about concerns about alcohol issues in our community, which I think I share, and the mayor's office has stated his concern, and certain alders who certainly voted against the click and go stated their concern about alcohol issues in our community. I wanted to do something a little more practical, a little more meaningful than just a gesture of saying no to the click and go, which I think only hurt our businesses. I don't think it made one dent at all into the culture of alcohol issues in our community. I brought this forward thinking that this was a small step to make. We do have a policy already with new businesses that they sit down with the police before they come with us before us to get a license, and that's part of the policies they agree to adhere by. That is just the best smart business practice. I'm talking to many business owners in the community. They also do this policy of not having their servers partake while they're working. Right here. The reasons for that is several. I mean, it's just not responsible. I mean, they're handling money. They need to be able to monitor other people's drinking. They need to be able to cut people off. They need to be able to manage the establishment. So there's lots of reasons why I feel it's just not responsible for servers to be drinking on the clock. I see this not as a get after any particular establishment, but as a step toward addressing alcohol issues in our community that if we take a mindset of drinking responsibly, I'm not pushing for prohibition, I'm pushing for, if you're drinking responsibly, and it's best policy to not have servers drinking, and we've already well on the way to establishing that as a practice in many in our community. Why wouldn't we make it an ordinance to just cross that T and say, this community, we believe, is no longer socially acceptable, is no longer responsible to be drinking with servers on the clock. So there's lots of ways we can look at this. I know there have been several concerns brought up in talking to some of the business owners, and I think some of those are valid, and I'd like to address those. I don't know if I want to go into that, so maybe I'll let them speak for themselves, and we can take it from there. But I don't see this as an ordinance that's out to slam a business or make a business difficult or to make things difficult for our PD. It's just a step in a sort of a campaign to drink responsibly. And if you believe in that and you want to make that sort of a motto of your city, I don't know how you can defend servers drinking on the clock. I'd say that's very irresponsible. So that's the genesis of it all. We'll see where we get. Yep. Yep. PD?
Can I ask you, is this a major problem in the city of Green Bay as far as the servers being intoxicated? Has there been any calls on it?
I can't remember offhand there being any calls that a bartender or server was so intoxicated they couldn't serve. But I'd have to look back at the data, at our research to see if that has happened.
So overall, they've been doing a pretty good job, most of the servers that are, they're all like, basically they're licensed servers. In other words, they come forward to get a license and they know the rules.
Correct. I would say 98 or 99%, yeah, do follow the ordinances and the rules and have licenses.
That's my question. Thank you very much.
Yep.
Well, Lieutenant, with that being said, you said 98 to 99%. So this ordinance that Alder Scannell's looking at, well, like I said, I should maybe talk to you about that. If it's for that 1% or 2%, I mean, I know this is just your thought on it. Does it seem like that it's overbearing on something like that, or I mean, what's your?
I personally don't think the ordinance would be overbearing. I believe it would add like another tool in case there is an establishment that is having issues or problems. Not saying we would cite, but it gives us the discretion and another tool to get that bar and the server in compliance to help out, I guess, even as a best business practice like it was already discussed. So it's not something that we would automatically go in and cite and ticket, but if it does become a problem or establishment, it gives us an extra tool to help get them in compliance, and if not, a tool for us to help to seek revocation of their license.
I'd like to, Randy, you can chime in as well, but I think I'm equating it almost to a Packer game where somebody has too much and they could lose their season tickets. Is it the same type of premise here where if something would happen at an establishment that they could lose their license?
Eventually they could if there's enough qualifying calls. It's not, if they do it the first time, I can't imagine them losing their liquor license the very first time. But if we could establish a pattern and it becomes problematic, we would build that case and then come before you to seek for either non-renewal or revocation.
And I would chime in that I would expect that not to really happen. I would expect that to be an extremely rare case. I'm not, again, this isn't a problem in the community we need to address, per se. It's a step in promoting responsible drinking. If you believe in trying to get a handle on the alcohol issues in our community, this seems, if we look at it from that perspective, responsible drinking, what are the practices, what are the policies we want to follow, the ordinances we want to make. It seems to me this is a very simple step in that it's already practically done already. I mean, we're not really upsetting much business behavior already, or a pattern. It's already being done. We're just putting a dot on the I and making it official, making it so that if there are some extreme cases, we do have one more tool in the toolbox to address it. But I really look at it more as from the standpoint of the mayor's office, many alders on this city have expressed concerns about alcohol issues in our community. What can we do about it? Well, let's try and do something practical, not just deny, click and go, which I think is totally ineffective as far as changing any kind of behavior of consumption of alcohol. This does change the culture of saying we no longer find it acceptable, responsible behavior to drink with your server. That's it. It's not a big, and I don't think we're going to be making huge waves and changing behavior. It's just one small step in a campaign of being responsible drinkers. That's it. That's my take on it. That's how I'm looking at it.
There's a lot of folks that are here.
Yep.
I would make a motion to open the floor.
Motion open the floor by Alder Steuer, seconded by Alder Stevens. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Please state your name and address.
Get mine out of the way first.
Yep.
Don Melly, 840 South Broadway, Green Bay. My name is Don. I'm also president of the Brown County Tavern League. I aim to speak on a sober server ordinance brought on us today. I'm not the only one. May I please have everyone here on behalf of licensed establishments in Green Bay raise their hand for me. Thank you. Sober server is an ordinance that is passed in some municipalities and is being considered here tonight. There are two things I would like to establish here. One, I personally do not allow my bartenders to drink while working in my own establishment. Two, as president of the Brown County Tavern League, I'm here to represent all 160 members in this county with any issue pertaining to their respective establishment. I'd like to start by referring to the liquor violation reports, here protection policy, over the past 6 months. Since September, there have been 0 instances. In mid-August, there was 1. That establishment is now out of business. There are 162 licensed establishments in Green Bay. In conjunction with law enforcement, there has not been an issue about any incident in any current establishment. There's a lot to be said for that responsible behavior for businesses in this city. Additionally, Brown County Tavern League Safe Ride program has over doubled in the past year and is on pace to do so again during this cycle. The licensed establishments in this area I have found are working together to promote safe and responsible drinking practices, and that is evident by recent statistics. I am also a chair on the Brown County Traffic and Safety Commission, where we performed place of last drink study over the past year. The place of last drink looked at over all of the 914 OWI arrests in Brown County. That's a big number. But we have some interesting results. Over the past year, there were less people coming from a licensed establishment than people that came from a house or home, or refused or other, which would be drugs, etc., because it's operating while intoxicated. Matter of fact, the last quarter showed a 2/3 to 1/3 margin in the favor of a licensed establishment, less coming from us. Alcohol-related fatalities in Brown County are also the lowest they've been in at least 14 years. Even talking with local law enforcement today, I was told that not only is this not a major concern, like the lieutenant alluded to, but if there's a situation where an incident in a licensed establishment needs to be addressed, a bartender would be less likely to call law enforcement for fear of a citation. That could lead to a bigger problem. Once again, we're talking about 162 different businesses in the city. Many don't allow their staff to consume on the job. Some will enjoy a beverage during the last hour of work with their patrons. Some want to be able to help their place if they've had a couple. And some want to be able to continue to work with law enforcement exclusively without an ordinance from the city. What I'm saying is this: if there is a problem with sober serving in Green Bay, I would consider the legislation you're bringing forth today. Bar owners and bartenders are working well with law enforcement in this area. The direction the relationship going is clearly visible. This could turn or progress in the opposite direction. And we aren't addressing an issue here because, as Randy said, there isn't one here. So, thank you very much.
Questions?
Thanks, Don, for coming in. You said there's 162 establishments in Green Bay. How many in Brown County again?
398.
398. Okay.
And rising by the sound of it.
Right. And, of course, you know, we've gone through a number of things with alcohol in this community over time. And I think when you look at Green Bay, I mean, you've got stretches where you have many, many establishments. I live on the west side, and there's very little. So I guess, you know, I know a standpoint. I'm really interested in just hear what the other folks have to say.
Yeah.
So I'll reserve for that.
That's well.
I'm just saying.
Just wide open.
So I'm gonna leave it for that.
Okay.
And I want to reiterate, there's not a problem in Green Bay. This isn't coming forward because there's a problem in Green Bay. It's coming forward for other purposes, and this isn't a slam. I think barn owners are doing a great job, and they're working well with the police. We've made some great strides, I think, over the past 10 years, and this is not in any way a slam or a problem that I see. It's not meant to pose per se as solving a problem. Specifically, is if you say responsible drink, well, save that for later. We've got the floor open, let you have people.
Actually, I had a quick question to ask, Randy, and you may have alluded to it already, but as far as, did someone approach you on this?
Yes.
This
came from
someone else?
Someone else, yep.
Okay, and they may be here to speak, maybe.
Someone from them might be, yes. He's not.
Okay, all right.
Yep, so
Floor
go ahead,
is open.
anybody else? Please state your name and address.
Trevor Commons, 1105 Clough Street. I have 3 liquor licenses in this town. The last thing I remember you saying was there's not a problem. If there's not a problem, what are we trying to fix? I think it's you're overstepping your bounds slightly when you're telling business owners of this community how to run their business. One of the bars I own is Ned Kelly's. I have 20 bartenders there. Every night or every day on the schedule, I highlight somebody who is to remain sober. I have staff members there who are not allowed to drink. And as a general rule of practice, I don't let anybody, or they're not supposed to consume more than 1 drink per hour. We take a lot of steps into keeping our staff sober, safe. A lot of them take Ubers home if they have been consuming. And I don't feel like, well, our record proves that we haven't had any issues with alcohol or drinking servers. That all being said, I see where this is going elsewhere in the state, and I'm not necessarily 100% against it, but what I'm adamant about is that you don't hold us as owners responsible. I remember being a 21 or 22-year-old kid, and back then I worked at Kittner's. Right when Jim and Jane, the owners then, made their staff go sober, a lot of the staff at Kittner's would go over to the Stein and get loaded before going into their shift. So we've got to be careful, because then we might be promoting this. Another thing that could come from this is, well, are the owners allowed to drink and the servers aren't? Well, then why, as a bar owner, we could just say, oh, this person's part owner, this person's part owner, this person's part owner, and you could go down the line of an employee-owned bar, and you're going to be in trouble there as well. So just a couple things to think about as you guys discuss this.
That's a quick question.
Go ahead.
Thanks for coming in again.
Yeah.
So how many servers do you have at Ned Kelly's, for example?
Roughly 20.
Okay. And you're stating more or less that every bar owner is going to be a little different. There's no rules and regulations. It seems like you can, you're the business. You try to run it as well as you can. I guess my question is, how, of those folks, you said maybe 1 drink per hour? Was that what you stated? That they're allowed?
We advise, yeah, because we learn in the responsible beverage program that after 1 drink per hour, if you consume more, that you're legally intoxicated. So that was just something that we put in our employee handbook to minimize it.
I would think that would be hard to monitor if you have 20. Well,
absolutely.
Well, how many do you have at once?
On a Friday or Saturday night, say 8 or 9.
8 or 9.
Yep.
Okay, that's still a number.
Yep.
And to have somebody watch that's not always easy. So it really behooves the owner to really kind of have it under control.
Absolutely.
I think.
I agree.
So that's all.
Have you looked at any of the other ordinances around the state?
I know that a few years ago that Appleton put it through, and then like a year following that De Pere put it through, and that's about the extent
I don't
of my
think
knowledge on
Appleton made it through.
Oh, then I'm completely wrong. That's all hearsay then.
They tried.
Okay.
So the
They went
pier
down in
has-
flames.
The pier has?
Okay. Some of them have a percentage of acceptable alcohol in the blood as part of the ordinance, so that it's not, when we say sober, we're not
Okay.
saying stone cold sober. Would that ease some of your concern if there was?
Yeah, and I agree with the police officers too. If there's a problematic bar that they're looking to shut down, then if drinking sober or sober servers is a problem, I like that as another tool for them to use. But as you alluded to earlier, and so did the president of the tavern, like, there really isn't a problem. So I guess that's what my main concern is what we're trying to fix.
Well, okay, I'll save that for later. Go ahead.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank
Yep.
you.
Yep.
Robert Heinrichs, 1807 Lost Dolphin Road in De Pere. I'm with 1106 Main Street in Green Bay. I've been operating since 1996 with different establishments in the city. I'm going to piggyback on what Don and Trevor said. There really isn't that an issue that I've seen with this. It's self-regulated. You don't want someone who's going to be a problem server. Why would you want them working for you if they are? I think it should be up to the owners to decide that. I think that Trevor kind of alluded to is you could get into a slippery slope here of where the ordinance goes if it's not written correctly. If you did go somewhere, are we talking about .02? Are we talking about .08? Are we talking about .00? And there's a lot of areas you can go. Then what happens if people go for dinner beforehand? If they have a couple drinks beforehand, they show up for their shift, and for some reason there's an incident, police show up, person is over whatever limit you guys set. So I just my concern is that this go to an odd place, and also like we have about 8 to 9 people on also on a weekend night, and if you can't control them all because you can't see them all at the same time, are you holding the establishment responsible for the individual's actions? I know it's our job to control that, but you could potentially put an owner in a really bad position for an irresponsible person who can quickly take a drink, a shot of something without, concealing it. And then also you're going into drugs. I mean, if we're talking about OWIs, are we talking about drugs in their systems also? I just don't know. I think it should be regulated by the owners the way it has been, and it hasn't been a problem. I think we working well. I joined the Tavern League. I think everybody probably should. We work well with the police department for that, and I think working more in a partnership with that is a better way to go than looking at drafting an ordinance to solve a problem that may not exist. Any questions, gentlemen?
Yeah. Thanks for coming in.
Yes.
How many folks work for you?
Probably 15 to 17
And
altogether.
At one time?
8 to 9.
8 to 9. And you consider that, what is that number that is a saturation point as far as trying to monitor, folks at all? I mean, you're not going to be staring at them every second. I understand that.
No, but you have managers.
Is there a certain saturation point as far as numbers of people?
Well, that way you have different levels of management. If that's what you're talking about, a supervisory activity.
And this seems to open up a can of worms too, because now you're looking at, you mentioned that there's people that come in that might have had a drink or two somewhere else, and then they come into work. So, I mean, is there any, normally will your servers come in and they'll be ready to go? And
Oh, almost all the time. I was saying you could open it up to a different situation where you would have someone, if you put them in a situation where they didn't have drinks, as Trevor alluded to the situation with Kittners, if they would go and drink beforehand, I mean, we'd be to a point where we'd giving them a breathalyzer when they come in, and then alcohol doesn't take effect immediately. I mean, you could have someone who came in on a shift and they seem completely fine, and then it hits them down the line.
they've got apps out there too, where depending if they're a man or a woman, size,
Oh, yeah.
all
that's
that,
very
and then
helpful.
you can take that, but there's liabilities that come into play with that as well. So anyway, it would seem that most folks are responsible here. So you're just saying that you feel that you shouldn't be regulated.
Yes. Thank you for your time.
So as an owner, do you allow your staff to drink?
They can, yes.
Anthony Oshis, 08 East Alloway Avenue in Green Bay. I own the Libertine in downtown as well as Proof and Pier. My questions today are more of gross government oversight as I see it. My first question in my paper is, why is this a problem in general? And it sounds like it's not. It sounds like it's a very small percentage of the calls, if any at all. And I wonder why it's even being held or brought forward. I also have with me documents from the law department in UW, Wisconsin. This comes directly from their website, Wisconsin Alcohol Policy Project. I quote directly from there saying, "A sober server ordinance alone will at best have minimal impact on drunk driving or binge drinking rates." I question again why we're here discussing it if it's not an issue. I believe that the tavern owners should be able to regulate themselves, especially if it's not an issue. If it is an issue, then it does need to be addressed, but it doesn't sound like it is. I am for a demerit system in which if there are problem bars or problem establishments that they need to be addressed, bad actors need to be taken out of the scene as a whole. In May of 2013, I believe the same proposal was suggested. Is that correct?
I think so. I don't know much about that.
It was dropped, and I asked what has changed from then to now to bring it back up again. And if there's any data to support if problems have gone up or gone down, and the socially acceptable aspect